Today, attacks against international vessels in the Red Sea. Venezuela votes to annex part of Guyana, and France deliberately violates an ECHR ruling. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Monday the 4th of December 2023. On Sunday, a series of attacks were launched from Houthi-controlled parts of Yemen against 3 commercial vessels in international waters in the Red Sea, a shipping artery vital to the global economy. The US military said its USS Carney warship shot down 3 drones, while 2 of the shipping vessels were hit by missiles, though there were no casualties. The first ship that came under attack was the Unity Explorer, which the US military described as a Bahamas-flagged, UK-owned and operated cargo ship with a crew from 2 nations. The USS Carney detected the incoming attack and shot down an unmanned aerial vehicle. In a separate attack later that day, the Unity Explorer was struck by a missile fired from Houthi-held areas in Yemen, and while the USS Carney was responding to the distress call, another inbound drone was detected and successfully shot down. No injuries were reported. Later, on Sunday afternoon, another ship, called the No. 9, was struck by a missile, with damage but no casualties. The No. 9 is a Panamanian-flagged Bermuda and UK-owned and operated ship, according to the US military. An hour later, a third ship, the Panamanian-flagged Sophie 2, reported that it was struck by a missile, but did not receive significant damage. While the USS Carney was responding to its distress call, an incoming drone was detected and shot down. The Sophie 2 was crewed by sailors from 8 countries. A Houthi spokesperson said the Iran-backed group had attacked 2 Israeli ships, though the Israeli military says the ships in question have no connections to Israel. US Central Command said the attacks represent a direct threat to international commerce and maritime security, adding that the US will consider all appropriate responses in full coordination with its international allies and partners. The attacks aren't the first actions by the Yemen-based Houthis in the Red Sea, who have vowed to target Israel over its war in the Gaza Strip. Houthi militants last month hijacked and seized what they called an Israeli-linked cargo ship in the Red Sea, which has since been freed, and they've also previously launched missiles and drones from their territory in the direction of Israel. The Red Sea is a vital shipping line. With the Suez Canal at its northern end and the Gulf of Aden at its southern end, it provides a route for oil tankers leaving the Middle East and the many container ships travelling between Asia and Europe. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine, or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. On Sunday, Venezuelans voted overwhelmingly, according to the government, in favour of incorporating an oil-rich region of neighbouring Guyana. The area, named Essequibo, makes up some 2/3 of Guyana's total territory and has been at the centre of a dispute that dates back to the 1800s, but intensified after major discoveries of oil in Guyana's waters from 2015 onwards. The referendum was planned by the Venezuelan government, led by President Nicolas Maduro, who pushed hard for Venezuelans to vote yes. The case is currently being considered by the International Court of Justice, after Guyana asked the court to affirm a ruling from 1899 by an international tribunal that set the current boundaries, which Venezuela rejects. One of the questions in the referendum asked Venezuelans if they rejected the ICJ's jurisdiction over the dispute, with more than 95% of voters saying they did. The most pressing question was the 5th and final, asking if Venezuelans approved of incorporating the region as a state of Venezuela. Nearly 96% of voters said yes. Guyana had described this question as an existential threat to the country's existence, saying it could pave the way for Venezuela to annex 2/3 of Guyanese territory. With the results declared, it's not clear exactly how Venezuela will proceed. The vote has been seen as an attempt by Maduro's regime to gauge its own public support ahead of next year's election, while also fomenting irredentist and nationalistic sentiment to boost said support and distract from domestic problems. If you're interested in this video, we released a video on the dispute a few weeks ago on TLDR Global, and have another one coming out there on Tuesday morning. Moving to Europe now, where the French press has reported the deportation of an Uzbek national suspected of having links to terror organisations in Uzbekistan, in violation of a ruling by the European Court of Human Rights. The 39-year-old man was deported from France on November the 14th, despite the ECHR ruling against the French government due to a perceived risk of torture upon the man's return to Uzbekistan. The decision came a month after a French schoolteacher was stabbed to death in the northern city of Arras by a former student with a record of Islamist radicalisation. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin defended the decision, insisting the man was known to the police for his roots in the pro-jihadist movement. He'd previously spent time in a detention centre in the Paris suburbs. The number of deportations from France has increased by 30% since the Arras attack, compared to the rest of the year, according to the French Interior Ministry. India's ruling BJP party, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has emerged victorious in a series of state elections in north and central India, a good sign for Modi's re-election hopes at next year's general election. The BJP won 3 out of 4 of the most recent contests. It gained control of Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan from the opposition Indian National Congress, or INC, and maintained control of Madhya Pradesh. Meanwhile, in Telangana, the INC gained control from a regional party. The BJP victories were in what is considered India's Hindi heartland, where Modi and his BJP have very strong appeal thanks to their Hindu nationalist policies. Prime Minister Modi said the results indicate that the people of India are firmly with politics of good governance and development. While the result in Telangana does highlight the BJP's failure to gain ground in southern India, the overall picture is not looking great for the opposition. The INC, seeking to deny Modi a third term in power, have united with dozens of smaller opposition parties to form the Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, or India for short. But as things stand, Modi's BJP look to be in a good position ahead of next year's vote, which is expected in April or May. To end with some uplifting news, the kiwi has returned for the first time in living memory to the capital of New Zealand, Wellington. The national bird, which gave New Zealanders their nickname the kiwi, has hatched eggs in the wild in the Wellington area. This is all thanks to an inclusive, multi-year government programme with a very ambitious aim: to get rid of non-native bird predators in the country by 2050, most of which were brought to New Zealand by colonialists. And so for the local indigenous Maori tribe in Wellington, it's another feather in their cap, as kiwis introduced to the area descend from birds rescued from the tribe's territory. That's all for today, but if you want more from us, then you should pick up a copy of our newspaper, Too Long. And if you've been considering it for a while, then this week only the code TLDRDAILY will get you 30% off, so it's the ideal time to buy. If you don't know, Too Long is our one-off newspaper which summarises everything that happened in 2023, as well as looking forward to 2024. It's full of exclusive analysis and explainers from the TLDR team, as well as a whole bunch of our favourite creators. We also put a ton of effort into the design, putting together a load of high-quality graphics and designs. As I say, if you want a copy, you can head over to our website and secure 30% off the normal price by using the code TLDRDAILY.